Hello everyone. This presentation is on the 2018 ballot amendments. This presentation will only cover proposed changes to the Sarasota County Charter. For proposed changes to the state amendments, I have another video on YouTube that covers both state and county charter. My name is Lourdes Ramirez, and this presentation will cover the official public positions of local agencies, a couple of PACs, some private and civic organizations, and my own personal preference. This will not represent any political party. Throughout October, in early voting and vote by mail, and on November 6th, Sarasota County voters are going to be asked to vote on not only state offices and local offices, but also on 18 ballot amendments. 12 of those ballot amendments are going to be changes to our state constitution. One will be a Sarasota County bond referendum. 5 are proposed changes to our charter, which is our local constitution. And both the city of Northport and the city of Sarasota are going to have their own amendments to their city charters. I strongly recommend that you vote by mail because this is going to be a long ballot and you don't want to get stuck behind someone who didn't get a chance to read it before they show up at the elections office, and it'll be a long line. To vote by mail, you can contact Sarasota Elections Office at 861-8600 or go to their website at sarasotavotes.com. You can ask for a vote by mail ballot and fill it out, and if you like, drop it off at their office. So I strongly recommend with this long ballot that you vote by mail. Now that we've finished with the state constitutional amendments, now we're going to talk about what's in our ballot for the county, Sarasota County. The first one is a bond referendum. Many of you heard about the legacy trail. This is a question whether we should allow the county to issue a $65 million bond payable from our ad valorem taxes to expand the legacy trail from its current location to the city of Sarasota and in the southern end down to Northport. Supporters of this is the Friends of the Legacy Trail and the Northport City Commission. Opponents, they're not current opponents as I've heard so far. I have heard questions about whether the $65 million is too much and whether it is really benefiting the Legacy Trail. I urge you to look into it more and see if it is currently worth expending $65 million to expand the Legacy Trail. Now let's discuss the Sarasota County Charter, since the next few amendments will affect our local constitution known as the Charter. Out of the 67 counties of Florida, only 20 has its own constitution. In fact, we were the second county to adopt the county charter, and that was done in 1971. Our county charter contains limitations on county government, including term limits and spending limits, and also describes how we elect our county commission. Now, changes can be proposed by the Florida legislature, our elected charter review board, or a county commission, as well as by citizen-initiated petitions. Well, now, citizen-initiated petition requires signatures and for citizens to campaign to get the voters to vote for their proposed change. In fact, any change proposed by the Florida legislature, the Charter Review Board, County Commission, or citizen petitions have to go before the voters of Sarasota County in order to be part of our charter. We will now begin to review proposed changes to our county charter, our local constitution. The first proposed amendment to our charter comes from our county commission. The county commissioners are proposing a change on how citizens propose ballot amendments. This is not a change to how the Florida legislature or the Charter Review Board or the County Commission proposed changes to our charter. This is just going to affect how citizens propose changes to our charter. The way it works now is that if a citizen or citizen group wants to propose a ballot amendment that would change our charter, they have to go out and get signatures on individual petitions from 5% of the registered voters. Currently, the number of voters in Sarasota County is 300,000. 5% of that would be 15,000. So a citizens group will have to go get 15,000 signatures just to get a ballot amendment on the next election. Now, the County Commission decided to make that more difficult, and they changed the percentage of required signatures on this amendment from 5% to 10%. So instead of getting 15,000 required signatures, a citizens group will have to get 30,000 required signatures just to get a ballot amendment put forth. They also decided to make it even more challenging and more difficult by changing the time frame that those signatures can be gathered. It amounts to about 18 months. So imagine now a citizens group, if you want to propose a charter amendment or a ballot amendment, you'll now have to get 30,000 signatures in 18 months. The supporter of this, of course, is the County Commission, who put this forth. And the opponent includes the Siesta Key Community, Inc. That's my old organization that I've had been part of for quite a few years. We haven't gotten involved in many of the local amendments, but this was so important. We really want to protect citizens' rights to put forth ballot amendments without obstacles. We believe we should keep the 5% number and not increase it to 10%, just like many of the counties in Florida, and just to make it easier for citizens to put forth charter amendments. The last time we even had a proposed charter amendment was in 2008. These are the ones coming from citizens. So it's been 10 years. There hasn't been a lot. And it's true, there are 3 this year. And I know that the County Commission is angered by those 3, but I don't think this is the right time to increase and make it more difficult for citizens to put forth charter amendments. So I will vote no, and I hope you will vote no for this proposed charter amendment. The next one is also a county charter amendment put forth by the County Commission. Currently, our Charter Review Board reviews our Constitution and can propose changes, and it is placed at a county-wide election. It could be a primary, it could be a school board race. Whenever there's a county-wide election, they can add a ballot referendum for us to review. Well, this changes it from a county-wide election to the next general election. As I mentioned, this was put forth by the County Commission, and I oppose it as part of Siesta Key Community, Inc. because I feel that if we place a lot of amendments like we have this year on the ballot, it can get lost. So if we do have a countywide election coming forth and a proposed amendment goes on that, it is probably something we can work on and concentrate on without having it being lost among many, many ballot amendments. So I would vote no on this proposed charter amendment. As I mentioned before, there are 3 county charter amendments that was put forth by citizen initiatives. They got 15,000 signatures plus in order to get these proposed questions before you, the voter. This first one is a charter amendment to reacquire and retain Beach Road that's located on Siesta Key as a public right-of-way. In 2016, the county commissioners vacated this almost 400-foot-long portion of Beach Road to the private property owners that were landward of that road. So this question basically says that should the county reacquire and retain that beach road as a public right-of-way, and leaves it up to you to decide. The supporters of this ballot amendment is the organization called Reopen Beach Road, and the local Siesta Key restaurants who appreciate people coming to that road in order to watch the sunset or to enjoy the beach. The opponents of this is the Beach Road property owners, which are landward of this public right-of-way. I personally believe that this is a good idea and will vote yes on this ballot amendment. Okay, the next county charter amendment is also put forth by citizen initiatives. In other words, they did get the 15,000 plus signatures required to place this on the ballot. It's related to Beach Road. This was put forth to prohibit the Board of County Commissioners from selling or giving away county-owned parks and preserves, and make sure that county commissioners can never vacate any road segments or rights-of-way that abuts any beach, river, any kind of waterfront property. The supporters of this county charter amendment includes Reopen Beach Road, and again, the local restaurants who know that our access to the water is what increases tourism. Currently, there's no opponents to this charter amendment. Personally, I will support this. I believe we need to preserve our parks, and the beach and water access. So I will vote yes. This next county charter amendment was also done by citizen initiative. They received the 15,000 signatures required to get this question on the ballot. This is about single-member districts. Currently, the county commissioners are elected countywide. This changes it so that county commissioners are elected by voters residing in the same districts which the county commissioners resides. There are several benefits to single-member districts. One, it makes the county commissioners accountable to their constituents, makes them responsive to the voters and citizens living in their districts. Now, it also helps the voters learn and know more about their specific county commissioners. It leads to a stable government. The second benefit is it allows grassroots candidates to have an opportunity to reach the voters on a low budget. It is difficult for grassroots candidates to raise enough money to run countywide. It is said, and I know this by personal experience, that to be elected in Sarasota County, you need to raise at least $150,000. And that's tough for grassroots candidates. The supporters of single-member districts includes Sarasota Alliance for Fair Elections, Control Growth Now, Sierra Club, and Siesta Key Community, Inc. The opponents are the big developers in town and a PAC called Stop Single-Member Districts that is currently run by agents of several of the big developers in the community. As I mentioned before, I've had experience in running countywide. It is difficult for grassroots candidates with a low budget to get their message across. Yet, I care about Sarasota County. And if I was elected county commissioners, I would care about the entire county. But I know my district, and my district knows me. And I believe that with single-member districts, we can have an accountable, responsive county commission. So I urge you to vote yes for single-member districts. The county-wide ballot amendments. Now, we have, if you live in Northport, a city charter amendment. And for the city of Northport, they have a referendum which changes their entire charter replaces it with a new charter. Currently, I'm not sure who's supporting this amendment or who even opposes this amendment. I would just tell you I would be concerned if I lived in Northport that unless I know what is the full language of the new charter, that I would be concerned about voting for something without a lot of information. So I would vote no. The next amendment is just for the voters of the city of Sarasota. It is a proposed change to their charter. It changes the date of the election of city commissioners. Currently, they're being elected in March and May in odd number years, and this changes it to August, November, and even number years. Supporters, there's a PAC called Decide the Date that is led by the Sarasota Chamber of Commerce and several big developers, as well as the ACLU. Opponents to this, I am not sure. I have not heard, but I would tell you that having city elections separate from the general election seems to be a good idea, because then you can concentrate on your city elections. Otherwise, if you have it in a general election, just like this year where we have the ballot amendments, 18 of them, as well as governor, senate, and local offices, it can get lost. I believe that if the city wants, they should have elections when it's better for them so they can concentrate on their elections. Is the end of the ballot questions. For more information, you can check some of these websites. One of them is SarasotaVotes.com. That's our Supervisor of Elections Office website. You'll find some information on the ballot amendments there. BeReadyToVote.org is an excellent website. It's by the League of Women Voters. It tells you who supports, opposes, the pros and cons of each amendment if you want to continue reading about each amendment. There's also Ballotpedia. They're an excellent source of information on our ballot measures. My name is Lourdes Ramirez, and I want to thank you for being engaged, being interested in what happens in our state constitution and our local constitution. And be sure to vote. Share this with as many people as you'd like, because we need to get the word out. Again, thank you.